And here we are, another Thursday live with you, answering your home improvement questions, gardening questions, because it is Danny Day also. We'll get more into that. And, of course, our leader, Charlie Moser, is with us also. But first off, let me just tell you who I am and what I do. I am Tom Tynan, and I answer home improvement questions. Started my 35th year in radio answering home improvement questions because that's where it all started and still continues today on Sports Radio 610 in Houston, Texas. On Saturdays, I'm on the air from 9 to 12, and on Sundays, for the most part, it's 8 to 11, unless we get preempted by some football because it is football season. And since it is Houston, it's also World Series season, so we don't get preempted by that, but I had to throw that out there for those of you in the area that are big Astros fans. And as far as that goes, Danny Milliken, because it's the last Thursday of the month, he does the Garden Pro show before me on Saturday. And there he is. Wait.
I know, I shaved.
He has a face. Okay, wait a minute. Let me just say, from 7 to 9 in the morning, he does the Garden Pros, but he's never had a face. When did you get a face, Danny?
Well,
there you are without your face.
I'm really bad at trimming my beard, and so I kind of accidentally shaved off one part of it. And, once you do that, you got to take the whole thing off. So here's what I look like. I'm clearly aging. Oh, not well.
I think you look cute.
Thanks, everyone. I'll grow it back.
Yeah,
I just, man, the wind out here, crazy.
I think you look great. You look different, but you look great. And quite frankly, people who have beards have something to hide. So I like to see all of Danny.
Yeah. I know what it is, though, what a lot of people have to hide. And it's the double chin. It's the double chin that I've got to hide here. So.
Well, stay away from the pizza. It'll go away.
Look away. Look away.
Stop.
Cool shirt,
But you even
Charlie.
got the jacket going and everything. I like it.
Yeah, he's got the whole thing going.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we're having lots of problems out here because of the wind.
Oh.
So.
Well, explain where here is.
Yeah, that would be good.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Here is the Houston Botanic Garden. It's a beautiful spot. It's on an old golf course. And so that means there's lots of live oak trees out here. And they don't like it when there's heavy wind after a rain. So there's a chance of some trees toppling. We've had to close some pathways because of it. Anyway, all hands on deck.
The drama of Houston Botanical Gardens. And Danny is he's the Captain Steubing of that floral love boat out there. And so I'm sure you take care of all that stuff in your own way.
It's like Milliken, the skipper, too. It's like that.
Okay. So what we're going to do here today is we'll get back to Danny.
In the face.
We'll get back to Danny in a minute. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about your home improvement questions. And if you have one, go ahead and put one down here. We have some fashion comments on Danny's beard we'll be sharing here in a moment with everybody. But if you have questions, you want to put them in our the section there where we take the questions in the comment area down below. We'd love to hear what you have to say. But before we get any further, it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for what's news in home improvement. And I just want you to know, I use the broadest possible definition of home improvement. Because for many years, the Battleship Texas was home to many people. And apparently there's going to be a new home for the Battleship Texas. It is going to Galveston for repairs. A company called Gulf Cooper and Manufacturing has won the contract for it. And it was originally, as you know, commissioned back in 1914 as, I think they called it the most powerful weapon in the world. And wasn't that a better world back then? It's been closed to the public since August of 2019, and it's about to undergo a $35 million rehab. And Tom, here's one place where foam works. It's been taking on as much as 2,000 gallons of water per minute into the boat. Coming in, they're pumping it out, trying to keep the thing alive. And they used expanding foam, and now they've got it down to 20 gallons a minute. And so that's going to enable them to get it down the ship channel to where they're going to do it, because this GSM company just got a dry dock that will enable them to be able to get it down. And the way they're going to do it, here's footage from an animation from the Battleship Foundation showing they're going to take it in there, lift it up into this thing, and take it out of the water, be able to do repairs. It is a 40-mile journey that's going to take 12 hours down the ship channel. And don't you know, there's probably going to be a little bit of coverage on that when it happens.
Yes, everybody get out of the way. It's pretty big.
It's pretty, yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that it got so bad, and where it was sitting at the San Jacinto Monument, it actually sunk all the way to the bottom of where it was, and it was just sitting on the mud in the bottom. So it's got a lot of restoration needing to be done down below there where they foamed it and floated it back up.
Now, the bigger question right now is, will it ever come back up the ship channel? Because speculation is that
true.
Galveston could become its new home. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm just glad they're taking care of it. If you Google the battleship, you go there, you'll find lots of updates on what they're doing. It's really exciting what they're doing to save that piece of history and how they're restoring all the guns and so on. It's just fascinating work that they're doing. A good friend of mine, Brent Clanton's involved in that, and you see lots of updates on Facebook about it. So anyway, that is what's news for this week, and we get to the questions that...
Well, it was a lot of people's homes, so it's home improvement. I
Yeah,
like
okay,
it.
all right. So you give me a pass on that
People
one?
lived on that ship since 1914. You betcha.
So, all right. Let's get to the questions.
I'm ready.
First one for us comes from Carrie. Oh well, hold on a second. Hold on. Whoa. Stop the action. Oh
no, there's the face again.
there it is.
I like
We got to get Danny's questions
He
on
looks
first
younger.
here.
Danny, you look younger. I swear to God, you look younger. I like it. I like the look. Go ahead. Sorry, Tyler.
I just hope you don't get ID'd anytime soon, Danny, because they're going to
Yeah.
say,
I
"What happened to that guy? What happened to that guy?" All right. So let's get to your questions, Danny. We got some that we have gathered up from our Ask Tom mailbox you can help us out with. Chris in West Columbia asks, first of all, how do I get rid of or control Spanish moss? Is that something you want to get rid of? Nope. Hold on, Danny. You're somebody in the technical department didn't turn your mic on. Here, try it now.
Is it because I was singing? That's what. It's okay. I understand.
Yeah.
Spanish moss is an epiphyte. It's not damaging the tree. So that's the first thing. So if you want to get rid of it, it's simply a preference issue. A lot of people find it charming, especially people from the Midwest that don't get to see it. Think it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. So maybe get some new friends might be the first step. The best thing to do, because it's an epiphyte, is to use baking soda in a mixture with water and just spray kind of the bottom half of your problematic ones. It will soak in and go up to the root. It doesn't really have a root. It just has its clingy thing onto the branch. And so that's all you got to do is a little baking soda and water, spray the bottom half of it. Try not to get it on the leaves of the tree. If you don't want to try that, a rake is sometimes a good thing to do. They take a long time to grow, so you could pull it out, rake it out, and then sort of be done with it. But it's not damaging the tree.
But you're saying it's so this is a matter of just taste whether you want it or not on your trees.
Yeah, a lot of times it grows because it does photosynthesize a little bit. It grows where a little bit of light is coming through the canopy, and so a lot of times you do see them on already stressed trees. Ball moss even more so. And so the thing to do is to kind of try to improve the health of that tree. So we love putting down humic acid. We love compost as a top dressing around a tree, but those are the approaches you want to take with the Spanish moss and the health of the tree. But yeah, Charlie, it's just a preference of taste.
Okay. Let's see. We got another one for you here, Danny. There it is. Charles in Atascocita asks, I've been having problems with sod webworms. What's the best products to get rid of these things, and what is the time to use them, and how long should I use them, and so on? I know that you have definite opinions on this one.
I do, and there's three parts of the sod webworm problem. There's the eggs, the worms themselves that are doing the damage, and then the moths. And so if you're trying to get rid of that whole problem, you want to do an approach that takes care of all of it. Well, the eggs are going to hatch in about 2 or 3 weeks and become more caterpillars. So if you can put down a mixture of molasses and BT, that'll stymie the caterpillars, right? And then come back with garlic barrier and overspray with that. It'll drive the moths away. You won't get any new eggs. Your eggs will hatch in about 3 weeks. Do that molasses and BT one more time 3 weeks later, and then you'll be done with it. You won't have the problem anymore. You'll have kept the new crop away. You won't have a generational issue. When people are really getting damaged by sod webworms, they have generational issues where they're always having a problem. And so that's my best advice to you. Sometimes the molasses can actually decompose the egg and really get rid of that egg problem also. So triple whammy, 3 weeks apart. Treat today, and then wait 3 weeks. So that's what I would do.
So sod webworms, they can happen anytime during the year. It's not just like in the spring or the summer. I thought it was kind of a seasonal thing. Is that incorrect?
No, you're absolutely right. The reason we see them in the fall so often is because the stress from the summer lowers the health of the grass. It may be growing fast, but it's really trying to keep up with that. It's under stress, basically. And so we see the sod webworm because it's become viable food for them where it wasn't before. And so people do have patches of sod webworm all through the year, but this is our big season because of summer stress. So overcome that. Ocean harvest, super seaweed from microlife. Those are two good options for overcoming summer stress.
All right. Here's one from Alvin in Cloverleaf. He says, I have dead yellow spots in my St. Augustine, and I noticed other homes in my area also have the same issue. Any idea what's causing that, Danny?
Yeah, anytime we see a yellow spot, especially if it's got a little kind of a gold yellow, if it's an interesting yellow, that sounds a little bit weird to say that, but that is usually a sign of brown patch. So brown patch is a fungi, but a very wimpy fungi. Monterey Lawn and Garden has an awesome product called Complete Disease Control. It's a bacterial-based problem, and that bacteria eats those wimpy, smaller fungi, and so it's a great way to just treat it right off the bat, and then put some good old microlife down, that 624, to kind of bring it back from its threat. If you're really looking for something else that you want to add to it, you want to add two things at once, which I do love doing, there is another microlife product called the Plant and Soil Energy is what it's called, Plant and Soil Energy. It's molasses mixed with humic acid. It will boost the numbers of that bacteria that's going to eat the fungi. So Monterey Complete Disease Control is your best tool. I've been thinking about it for a long time. The last 2 years, I've used it, one on a friend lawn, one on my lawn, and it stymied it. It stopped it in its tracks,
Stifled it. Left it gobsmacked.
Yeah.
Hey, Danny, does it kill the grass, or is it just kill the top and the roots are okay? Brown patch.
So, yeah, it kills about 90% of it, 90% of the grass.
But will it grow back, or is it history?
That, I think, is site to site depending on compaction. So if you have kind of a robust lawn and you get brown patch, it may only kill about 30% of your lawn. But if you're dealing with compaction, like a lot of people are, and maybe they're treating with chemicals, which is their choice, of course, then a lot of times the fungal problems can be worse than if you're trying to build your soil up as a priority.
If you're looking for some of the products that Danny's talking about and you're not sure where to find them, you probably, if you visit the website there over at Home Show Garden Pros, you will find links to all of the products Danny's talking about, as well as links to all our Home Show Garden Pros who can help you as well. So, all right, here's another one. Here's a positive one. Now that we've handled all the things people want to kill, here somebody wants something to grow. Ann says, I want a flowering tree for my front yard, and it needs to grow 15 to 20 feet tall. What are some good options? I was thinking a KV plum might be a good option. What do you think?
Yeah, KV plum is a really cool plum by Monrovia. I know Warren Southern Gardens sells Monrovia stuff. It's a pretty commonly known brand all over the U.S. And the KV plum is the Kaiser Vesuvius plum, and it does survive in our area with a little bit of shade. And so if you've got a full sun space, it's not a viable option. Some really great options might be a Chinese fringe tree for a flowering plant. Beautiful white flowers in spring, really interesting bark the rest of the year. Tough to go wrong with crepe myrtles. I love the Tuscarora, the Muskogee, and the Natchez as three good options, all different colors, but they're the older varieties. So they will kind of be in that window for a long time with pruning especially. And so those are some that are easy to go to. Redbuds, the Oklahoma redbud can be a really great shade tree that also, not shade tree, flowering tree that fits in that size range. So, but the KV plum is one that really dark purple leaves. You'll see it from time to time. It's like very striking. And then the flower is a little bit lighter purple. So it's being this kind of interesting mix that happens. So.
Is that when you're talking about a plum tree? Is she ever going to actually harvest plums from that tree?
It's not edible, is it?
It's what's known, Charlie, as a cherry plum, and it's edible, but it's not delicious. So people will do things like make wine.
Then it's not edible.
Yeah.
If it's edible, bad, it's not
Edible but not delicious. Okay, so it's like Brussels sprouts. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I like Brussels sprouts.
Well,
I think we had that conversation last month.
I think that's why they make red cars and why they make blue cars, Tom. And in your case, a bicycle. But all right. So if you're looking for Danny has, as you can tell, he's wicked smart, and you can find him freely vending of his knowledge every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 on Sports Radio 610, immediately preceding Tom Tynan and Home Show Radio. So, Danny, thank you so much for being with us today, and I love having you here on the last Thursday of the month. And I'm sure you already, you know what, Tom, I have figured out why he shaved his beard.
Because it looks good.
It's his costume for Sunday.
I should use it. I should use it somehow.
You should do that.
Who's
And you
someone
look
cool
friendlier, too.
Oh, I can go as Tom Tynan for Halloween. Oh my
That-
gosh.
did you get? You're gonna have to shave.
Well, you
have to shave your whole head.
The other part, too.
Not the whole head. Not much of it.
That and
Not
that.
much of it.
Good point.
Okay.
Hey, speaking, one last question for you, Dan. Before you go, any thoughts on the orange crop this year?
Oh, I think
Did-
we got it.
Do you think there's
we
going to be a
got
good yield in the next few games, everybody?
Nice.
I hope so. I think we got one more game to play in Houston. I think it's going to be done after that. So, I believe.
In other words, there's no way that they can finish in
Astros
Atlanta.
in 6.
Astros in 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Tom has no idea
All
what we're
right, thanks,
talking
guys.
about, but okay, Danny.
All I know is Altuve's a god as of last night. So that's
Sports
all I know.
ball.
That's right. Well, and I'll tell you what, and you talk about some step up performances. The pitching staff has reached higher and further than they did all season so far in the post.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people thought when McCullers was gone that it was over, but man,
Mm-hmm.
Urquidy stepped up again. He loves Game 2s in the World Series. That we know. So.
Well, that's true, and we also know that we kind of had the untouchables thing going on. You know what I mean? One of our pitchers got hurt. One of their pitchers got hurt.
Yeah. Whoa.
No. Maybe not. All right, Danny.
For
Thanks.
all of you out there that could care less about baseball, I apologize for these guys.
And for everyone else, we apologize for Tom. So there it is.
That happens
those
every
people.
week right here on Sports Radio 610.
Danny, thanks for being with us. We'll see you next month. All right.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
Bye, Dan.
all right. And remember, Danny, you'll find Danny every Saturday right before Tom and all that. So, Tom, we got a bunch of questions came in while we were sitting there talking about all things
I'm ready. I'm
yard
sitting
and garden.
here.
Jack has got a question for you. He just wrote in. He says, I need some advice. I have two 40-gallon water heaters. I'm wondering if I can switch to a tankless. What will be the difference I'll notice in response and my gas bills? Will there be a noticeable difference?
Well, gas has not been affected too much by pricing. I'm still paying around $32 a month, maybe up to $50 a month. We'll have to see with the heating season. I'm sure it's going to go up some. But to tell you you're going to save huge amounts on your gas bill, because they usually aren't that high unless you have another reason that you're using a lot for generators and things like that. I don't know if it's ever going to pay itself back. Here's what it does as far as I'm concerned. If you don't need the hot water, then you don't need two tanks of hot water always hot. So you could actually probably money-wise with your initial expense, just get rid of one of them and just use one water heater if you don't have the need. The big thing is if you have a lot of people and a lot of need that goes on a long period of time, the on-demand water heaters will be much more efficient and give you all the hot water you want. Not you won't be able to outpace them in most normal cases. They'll just keep giving and giving and giving more. And so that's where people really get a lot of advantage with it, because with a tank, you're eventually going to wear it out and it's not going to keep up. The recovery starts to go less and less. And the initial cost, and here's where the costs really come in, even if you save 50% on your gas bill, the initial cost to go from two tanks to a on-demand of the size to handle your whole house would be so expensive on the front end. I don't know, and you can always check it out by asking and getting quotes. I don't know if you'll see anytime soon that you'd even get your money back. So as an investment on money, that's the part I'm worried about, is your initial investment and how much you truly are going to save and how long it'll take for you to get it back. My philosophy is, if you get into a home improvement project of any kind and you want it to pay itself back and save money, like insulation and things of that nature, 5 years is the time you want to pay back. If it's longer than that, it's best you don't do it.
I saw news stories this week that up in the Ohio area, Centerpoint is saying that their gas bills are going to double this winter. And I don't know if that applies to us down here.
I'm sure even if it doubles for a lot of us, it would go from $30 to $60. And let's say you kept it down at $30. Let's say you save 50%, which is a big number. It's still $30 a month or $40 a month or even $50 when you're going to have to recoup $1,700 or up to $3,000 for the initial investment. And you can imagine how long that would take for you to recoup your money and then start saving on the backside. That's why you've got to be careful on your initial outlay. On new homes, it's easy. On existing homes, it can be rather expensive. I think, Charlie, you've come across that with Abacus Plumbing, talking to them. It can be rather pricey to retrofit a home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or even, or even to when you talk about converting from like a tank to a tankless, thinking that you're going to save money, and there's the cost differentials and going to those things, not so much. So, all right, got a question for you here that comes to us from Jim in Farmington, Missouri. He says, I've been in my house about 20 years, and it was new when I moved in. After about a year, I had a crack in the drywall about 3 feet long. I repaired it, but it keeps coming back. Any suggestions, Tom, on how he can fix this thing once and for all?
If it is a crack that's on a seam, and it's a straight crack, and they happen all the time, what I would tell you is this: re-nail that crack and re-nail the sheetrock on the studs past it. Just re-nail the whole thing the best you can, and then go ahead and repair it, and it probably will stop moving. Now, that doesn't mean another crack won't appear somewhere else, but it probably is because that piece of sheetrock, or right there at that joint, was really not attached very well. And when people make a mistake with sheetrock is when they nail it, they go so fast, and if you don't push on the sheetrock and you expect the nail to pull it tight, it really doesn't. You got to push it real tight. And then you got to set your nails, and for a really good job, if you're nailing it, they use a double nail system. We always insisted on that, especially on the ceilings, where you go and nail it once, then the guys go behind it, and within 2 inches of that first nail, they put a second one in, pushing really tight, and then reset the first one. And that holds it in place for a long, long time. And that's what's specified in the spec sheets. Now, if you're using screws, you don't have to do the double, but you still have to push tight because the screw will go right through the sheetrock. The sheetrock won't pull tight to the to the framing.
All right, Vincent in Plantersville here in Texas says, I have noticed over the past few weeks that I can hear what sounds like bubbling or gurgling from my toilet, and also a foul odor in the shower. And that's in the same bathroom. He says, do you think this is a septic problem, Tom?
I don't think it's a septic problem. I think it's a venting problem. So I would check to make sure the vent stack has not got some debris in there, whether it's leaves, birds' nests, something of that nature, because it's not breathing. So it's siphoning the shower P-trap, and the gurgling is the toilet trying to find air, because if you don't put air in a pipe, the water doesn't flow down. It wants to suck with it. That's why when you put your thumb over a straw and you put water in there, it'll hold it until you let your thumb off, and then the water will come out. So I would check the vent system. I'm almost sure it's not a septic system, which is a lot easier to fix. It might need just a good cleaning and snaking.
I remember you said something about plumbing, the basic understanding of plumbing one time. What is it that waste goes down? A lot of them. Waste goes down, air goes up, and payday is Friday. Isn't it something like that?
Payday is Friday. That's what they always say. And then in business, the poop always runs downhill from the top. So, there's a lot of sayings like that has to do with excrements. But let me tell you, your plumbers are the most important people, because if we didn't have them, we'd be living in it. I'm sorry. You don't realize 4 million people in a city There's a lot of stuff going down and the air going in, and sometimes payday's on Friday. Yes.
All right.
Sometimes it's Monday or Tuesday.
Augusta in Missouri City says, I have a leak from a large pipe from the HVAC system that goes through the roof, and it has damaged the ductwork under it to 3 rooms. Who should I call to repair it? He says a roofer, then an HVAC contractor to repair the ductwork. Would that be the order he'd go in on this, Tom, or does he call one guy to handle it all?
Yeah, it sounds like it's a furnace vent stack. So I would definitely call a roofer. Ideal Roofing, if you're in Houston, just boom, get them out there and let them reset all the roof jack and everything. The preacher's collar. There's a lot of parts and pieces involved with that. Let them get that all reset. And then call your air conditioning contractor. If you don't have one, Absolute Comfort Air. Go to homeshowradio.com and let them revamp the whole system. Make sure your furnace is not damaged. And this is a good time of year for everybody. Get your furnace checked. And also the ductwork and whatnot, they'll take care of all of that. But get the roof leak fixed, and a roofer is the person you call.
All right, Mike has a question. I wish this had come in while we had Danny on here, because he might have an answer, but you may, Tom. It's a practical kind of gardening question here. He says, my fence line borders a big field that isn't maintained, and a lot of weird vegetation is climbing my fence. Is there anything I can do from my side of the fence to keep the grass and weeds and vines away from my fence without going onto their property?
Well, if it's a lot of vines and you want to kill the vines, but the vines are rooted on the other side, I'm not sure how you are with your neighbors, if they even care. Obviously, you want to cut everything off you can, but if you want to kill it, what you do is you take Ziploc bags and put Roundup in there or a weed killer and put it on the ends of the vine, stick as much of the vine you can in there, and then seal it up and leave these bags hanging on there. And what it'll do, it'll keep sucking in the poison and kill it down to the roots. That means no matter what side the roots are on or how it gets there, it's going to find its way down, as opposed to just spraying the surface, because that'll kill the surface areas, but it might not get down to the growth in the ground.
Wow.
That's the way you kill poison ivy, by the way. Poison ivy is really hard to kill, so you have to carefully with gloves put those bags on there and then take in gloves and get rid of them.
Well, when I was up in Oregon, we came across poison oak, which apparently is even worse. That's bad stuff. Yes. It's like, don't put your bag down on it, because then you're going to bring it with. I mean, it's like one time you saw this stuff, you just made believe it was poisonous snakes, and we just stayed away from it. So, but I don't know.
I'll tell you what else. You go to Florida, where I grew up for a portion of my life, and they have what's called poison sumac. You even get close to that, it gets on you. It doesn't spread by scratching. You know, they say don't scratch it, it won't spread. It gets in your blood. It shows up on your foot. It shows up on your head. It shows up everywhere. And that's a prednisone treatment. At least it was when I was a young guy. I'm very allergic to that.
Wow.
Oak is terrible. You betcha. That stuff will spread too. Be careful.
I like Texas. We don't have
Texas.
This stuff here is not so bad. You get some snakes and some feral hogs. You know, it's not what could be worse, right?
Do.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So, time to land the plane, Tom, as you will be on the radio this weekend, I understand.
Absolutely. It's Halloween weekend. I will not be wearing a costume because it wouldn't make any sense. I'm on the radio. But I'm on Saturday from 9 to 12 and Sunday from 7 to 9. We still have an early game. The Texans play at noon, so we'll be on a little bit early. And I don't know. People are starting to talk about a time change, but I don't think it's this weekend, so I'm not going to go there yet.
Okay. And then right before you, Danny's on.
Of course. We just saw Danny with a face, even though he's on radio. Now we know he has a face. His beard has been shaved off, at least temporarily. He looked good, and he's on 7 to 9 on Saturday before me.
All right. And before we go... Oh, no, I don't want that one. I want before we go. I want this one.
There you go. Ding.
You take a week off, you get so rusty. All right.
It's okay. It's true.
It's
radio,
true. All right. Before we go, from the Department of With a Little Help from My Friends, kids, don't try this at home. You're stuck in the mud. Don't call for a friend who doesn't understand the principles of gravity. All right.
Yeah, keep your bucket low till you're ready to shovel. Okay.
I'm thinking you're right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody got an F in FFA. Okay.
Yeah, no kidding.
And not the good one. All right. Hey, that's
the
it for
bucket
this
down.
week. We will be back again next Thursday at 4 o'clock Central for another Ask Tom Live, and we'll look forward to seeing you then.
Got a question? Ask Tom on Home Show Radio. Home Show Radio. Free advice from a pro who knows. Home Show Radio. Home Show